some middle productions from both sides, but especially from Georgia Tech.
Emiliano gets us started. Georgia Tech in the home blues, Pitt in the yellow jerseys. And the opening rally, Mendez with the swing, no touch. Pitt gets the point. Georgia Tech was saying there's a touch, and Michelle Collier has the green card in her hand, which means she's flirting with a challenge, but probably doesn't want to, well, she is. She says she may not want to burn it on the first rally. But the entire Georgia Tech team signaled touch off of that attack on the right pin.
And Mulgridge on that right pin for Georgia Tech had a phenomenal set by Emiliano. We'll see, and it's really unfortunate if she has to use her first challenge. You see Valeria Vasquez Gomez and Bree Kelly there. I don't want to be in this position, but first point, this is going to be a significant decision.
Well, you get 2 incorrect challenges per match. If you get to a 5th set, you get an additional challenge. Georgia Tech is challenging the touch here. The original call was no touch, point given to Pitt. It's just the first point, Jen. What are we in for today?
I do not want to be the one making the decision, but if I had to, I would say that that ball was clipped by Valeria Vasquez Gomez's right hand here. You see the elevation there, and that ball passes right through. A beautiful block, so there was no seam. So we're looking at a potential touch here.
And certainly in O'Keefe, you cannot rely on sounds. It is one of the louder venues in all of college volleyball. They have sold this place out 35 straight times. This was the attack. Mendez swinging. I don't know. They're still taking a look at it, though.
And kudos to production for having so many angles. It's still going to be a tough decision to make.
One more look. You're looking to see if a finger bends back, if the spin of the ball changes. And it has to be clear to overrule the call. So, what's fun is we have probably 100 people staring at us right now because of the monitors that we're looking at, trying to figure out if they can guess it. And they are saying no touch. So the original call stands. Georgia Tech loses a challenge on the first point of the match. So they have one more remaining.
There's nothing like making the home team angry early. We've got a nice crowd here at Georgia Tech.
Valeria Vasquez Gomez in her 6th season of volleyball. 23-year-old with the serve into the net. We're tied 1 apiece. Don't tell me that was karma, Jen. I know what you're thinking.
It's going to be a fun one.
Speaking of fun one, watch this serve. One of the best in the nation, Bianca Bertolino. Boom. Fairbanks with the set to Stafford, to Babcock. Babcock will now set Stafford. Stafford off hands. Otene trying to hit through that block. Bree Kelly got most of it. Stafford, Bertolino with the dig. Bertolino with a touch. Fairbanks comes in to save it. Babcock, dug by Bertolino. And Otene is stuffed. Bree Kelly and Olivia Babcock putting up a wall.
Now you have got to test the block for both Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh. And what I mean by that is you got to swing, at least on the first couple of points, and that is what you're seeing from both teams. You saw Olivia Babcock getting in there on that right pin, and then Otene on that left for Georgia Tech. This is going to be an all-out battle.
Kat Flood into serve. Kat in her final year as a Panther came back for this final season to try to win that national championship that's eluded Pitt. The only team in the country to make 3 straight national semis. Fairbanks putting up a set to Stafford. Stafford hits hands. Out of the middle, blocked by number 9 in yellow, Ryla Jones.
Ryla Jones, a freshman out of the middle, staying in position, making sure that she is taking ownership of the middle of the court, and used here with a block there.
Kat Flood, one of the most popular volleyball players on the Pitt campus. Good serve. Otene blocked again.
I mean, look at the lateral movement. Look at the symphony between Jones and Babcock to just elevate, over, and penetrate.
Ryla Jones, a freshman from the state of Maryland. In fact, her sister was one of the all-time great players at Maryland, Raynell. A short serve, Otene tried to receive it, could not. That's a smart serve by Kat Flood.
Kat Flood coming in and making that short serve. It's causing Otene to move out of position and come towards the net, out of her attack route. Beautiful job by Kat.
Pitt off to a fast 5-1 start. They had 8 aces and a sweep of Clemson on Friday night. And Flood, a little too much club on that.
And I like how even in that sequence, Georgia Tech made that quick adjustment, moving Otene a little bit closer to that 10-foot line, causing Kat Flood to make a decision and serving it long.
Deandra Pierce has checked into the middle for Georgia Tech. She is at the front of the court in the middle position, number 1 in blue. Another successful attack by the Panthers. It's just hard to know where to go when you're playing that Pitt front line, when you've got Fairbanks, Jones, Babcock, and Stafford up there. Olivia Babcock, National Freshman of the Year last year. 19 aces this season. She actually leads the team in that category. That's an Olympic caliber serve right there.
Going straight down line again. Pittsburgh is using that strategy of targeting Otene for Georgia Tech. Otene just has to dig in and make sure that she is confident in passing this ball.
Babcock was invited to train with the U.S. senior national team last year, the only rising sophomore to do that. Right side Mendez. Stafford tools the block, and Pitt is rolling. No hitting errors in this set yet for Pitt. They are the most efficient team in the country.
Now watch Babcock. She is trying to serve between Bertolino and Otene, trying to get some pressure on both outside hitters for Pitt, for Georgia Tech.
She takes such a long approach on that serve. Mendez. And Georgia Tech finally scores to get the serve back. Mendez will get credit for the kill. And she'll rotate out. Mendez, sophomore from Brazil. A lot of Brazilian influence in this team. Fisher now in, number 18, senior from Longwood, Florida. Stafford with a sharp angle attack.
And that angle by Tori Stafford is so difficult, and it is executed because of the block. Deandra Pierce for Georgia Tech is too far to her right, and you see that angle is just wide open for Stafford to take.
Stafford already 3 kills on 6 swings, no errors. Now serving. Overpass, cleaned up nicely by Jones, like a dunk in basketball. She's not going to miss that. Jones has been such a big surprise in the middle for Pitt this year. She and Bree Kelly, they have a lot of depth at that position, which has become one of the most critical positions in volleyball these days. Otene, kept alive by Babcock. Stafford out of the back row. Tech does a good job to keep the rally going. Vasquez Gomez down the line. Yes, kill for Pitt.
That's a tough call. That ball moves so fast to that left pin for Valeria Vasquez Gomez for Pittsburgh. And Otene could not seal that right hand.
Good serve by Stafford. Otene did a nice job to keep it alive. Fisher attacks. Wow, the block gen of Pitt has been a fortress so far.
Already 4 blocks on the match for Pittsburgh. This has turned into a defensive-minded Pittsburgh, doing it at the service line and not letting anything pass the net.
Mateo faces silent battles with epilepsy. His mom always worrying, always watching. At Georgia Tech, these students are engineering hope for kids like Mateo. A discrete epilepsy monitoring device called NeuroChamp. Medical innovations born from passion. Student leaders leveraging technology to make the world better. Go, Mateo, go.
There is no patent. Could you patent the sun?
You know, Coach Prime, it's nice to finally have some free time. Gives you a chance to reflect on the important things.
Like how Aflac pays people money for the expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
Health insurance does leave a gap.
But Aflac gives people money to help close that gap. Oh, Coach Prime got one on the line too, baby.
See, that's how you hold up a trophy, trust me.
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
Aflac
Is an official sponsor of ESPN College Game Day.
I hope y'all hungry.
I'm glad I brought my own dinner.
Their defense is something that warrants mentioning as well.
Well, we talked about what's going to be important for both of these teams, and it's going to be serving and it's going to be defense. And right now you're seeing it from the side of Pittsburgh. They're not letting anything cross the net, and they're really doing damage from the service line.
They're out blocking Georgia Tech 4-0 here in this opening set. Pitt, the #1 ranked team in the nation, undefeated. They haven't lost a set all season. Babcock. She's just on another level, Jen.
And she's on another level because she has a setter like Rachel Fairbanks to be able to just come from the 10-foot line and deliver a perfect in-system ball to Olivia Babcock, who is on right back right now. She is back row, so she's hitting behind that 10-foot line and elevating.
Babcock, Fairbanks, and Stafford all on the National Player of the Year watch list. That list was just announced last week. So 3 National Player of the Year candidates on this Pitt team. Georgia Tech also represented on that list as well. Bertolino is on the list. Stafford, nice service run. They've had a lot of scoring runs in this opening set. Nice serve received by Velez. Point to Pitt.
Look, right now we are seeing why Pittsburgh is the #1 team in the nation. They are clearly efficient and effective. They have their roles, but on the side of Georgia Tech, they need to settle in. This is only the first set, so they just need a good, simple ball, good pass, and a good attack.
8 straight points have been reeled off by the Panthers.
Settle the ball here. You see that Otene is elevated in her shoulder. She needs to bring that ball down. Just a nice, simple swing to get a point on the board for Georgia Tech inside out.
Already 5 different players have a kill for Pitt. Georgia Tech just has 1 kill so far. That was Larissa Mendez. Good targeted serve off the slide, Pierce. Fairbanks putting up the set to Babcock. And Babcock terminates from the right side again. Another beautiful set from Fairbanks. (17-3) opening set. It goes to 25, win by 2. And finally Stafford off the line to end an 8-0 run.
Now this is where you have Bertolino rotate into the front row for Georgia Tech. So now we've got some firepower on the side of Georgia Tech on that left pin. So let's see if they can get some points on the board.
Otene is back to serve, 11 aces this season. Served it at Stafford, Fairbanks saves it. Off the side, Pierce again denied. Jones and Valeria Vasquez Gomez up there.
And I wouldn't necessarily say that for Georgia Tech, that was the decision that they wanted to make. Push that ball out to Bertolino, spread the blockers for Pittsburgh, and have them make sure that they have an eye on Bertolino. That ball should have went to her.
And to serve, Mallory Meyer. Meyer, a freshman from the state of Nebraska, actually from the Lincoln area. Obviously, where University of Nebraska is. She's in the libero jersey right now in place of Klicka. Can use 2 liberos this year. That's a change in NCAA volleyball. Vasquez Gomez tools the block.
Now this is when you know everything is just gonna work out. Right now on the side of Pittsburgh, there are no setters on the court. You see Tori Stafford come in and set up the offense. She's got nice hands, but she's no setter.
Well, again, blocking has been a massive story so far in this opening set. 5-0 Pitt leads in this department.
And when you have all the firepower on the offensive end, this is something that you should challenge your team to do. And right now, Pittsburgh is making sure that absolutely nothing is coming across the net. Right now, they have Georgia Tech hitting at a negative hit percentage, while they are topping at over 500, hitting at a 562 as a team.
I mean, to put that in bigger perspective, 5 total blocks for Pitt. Georgia Tech's only scored 4 points in this opening set. Dan Fisher has got this team rolling. They have made the national semifinals the last 3 years, but were frustrated that they couldn't get further. So they've been working with a sports psychologist over the summer, and one of the big points of emphasis is starting strong, not falling behind. And whatever it was they have gone through in their sessions with him has worked marvelously well. They have not lost a set all year.
Well, when you have a team that is so high efficiency like Pittsburgh, you're going to look and try to figure out and manufacture talent and challenges. So on the side of Pittsburgh, they need to make sure that they're not allowing any team in the country to get any closer than what they are. So they are in dominating fashion right now, and you see it.
They swept Clemson on Friday, never trailed, not even 1-0. And Otene out of the middle trying to light a fire under this Georgia Tech team, which is, remember, ranked 13th in the nation.
And I do not care that Otene is in the back row. This is something that Georgia Tech needs. They need to find simple volleyball. And right there, you see Otene coming out of the big for a point.
Velez, the libero, serving. Serves it at Klicka, who's back in the libero jersey for Pitt. And Bree Kelly with the kill out of the middle. Middles are so important in today's game, aren't they, Jim?
Absolutely important. Usually a middle blocker, you look at them as defensive minded, but the game has transitioned into making the middle blocker more of an offensive threat with first tempo kills.
Rachel Fairbanks, All-American setter, pushes that serve long.
Georgia Tech has got to get tougher on this service line. You saw the previous side out from Pittsburgh was a simple serve to the libero, Klicka on Pittsburgh, but they got to get tougher on the service line.
Emiliano, the setter, with that serve. Kelly out of the middle, attacks. Emiliano keeps it alive. Here's Mendez. She had the opening kill. Gets her second kill of the match.
And again, you see Emiliano, her first serve was to the libero on the side of Pittsburgh, Klicka. And it was not hard and tough. Let's see where she serves now.
Went right back at her.
Again, perfect pass.
Otene kept it alive, and some miscommunication there on the Pitt side of the net. I think they were shocked that ball went over, and they weren't ready for it.
And I don't know if Pittsburgh has talked to their sports psychologist about this, but you never want to take your foot off the gas. And this is something that I see Pittsburgh getting a little bit too relaxed. Even though they have a significant lead, they have to keep the pressure.
First time, well, it was the first time Tech had won back-to-back points. Then it was 3 in a row, and now it's 4 in a row as Tech is starting to show some life and making an impression. This set may be out of reach, but it is a good indication for them moving forward. Vasquez Gomez, the big windup. It's a roundhouse kill on that left pin.
Focus now for Georgia Tech is first ball side out, first ball kill here. And they are in a good rotation to do just that.
Pitt 4 points away from claiming the opening set. Emiliano was setting the middle, and Mogridge with the kill. So the middle's getting involved on both sides of the net.
Establishing the middle just opens up the net for your pin hitters. And you see right there Mogridge hitting the edges of the block from Pittsburgh and getting the kill.
Mogridge missed most of last season. She's been a nice addition to have her back this year. Bertolino's serve is out. Bertolino, one of the best servers, not only in the ACC, but in the nation. Cat Flood back into serve. Back set to Mendez. Mendez finally tools a Pitt block and gets the kill.
That's the simple volleyball that Georgia Tech needs to just build on. That was a good set against the grain from Emiliano out to Mendez for that kill.
Tech starting to play better here in the back half of this opening set. Again, Pitt has not lost a set all season. Mendez is blocked, but Georgia Tech keeps it alive. That's got to go over, and it doesn't. Point Pitt. 4 hits called against Georgia Tech.
And that was a miscommunication, starting off with a good block touch from Georgia Tech, but they had no libero, no person demanding that pass on their side.
Babcock back to serve. Rifles that serve at the libero, Velez. Fairbanks setting Babcock. Target practice, but Tech good defensively, keeps it alive. Stafford puts it down.
This is where you have a team that has 0 deficiencies. The entire block for Georgia Tech was not focused on Olivia Babcock in the back row, and it left an open net, so they have to make sure that they're maintaining and understanding where the attackers are at all times.
Set point Pitt. Otene into the block, kept alive by Emiliano. Man, she's had some good digs. But Pitt just too strong in that opening set as they take the first set 25-11. Pitt, the second set in this 2 out of 3 set match. Pitt's unbeaten streak continues. They've now won 34 straight sets to start the season. And Fairbanks said, what happened there?
It does not matter what happened, because Pittsburgh missed their first serve of the first match, of the first set as well. So right now, Georgia Tech has to worry about their 30 feet of court.
So you think it's intentional? It's game plan situation?
Maybe it's game plan, but they've got to worry about their 30 feet of the court and start off strong.
Bertolino ripped that serve. Otene into the block. It's just tough to hit through that block, Jen. What would you tell Georgia Tech?
I think for Otene, that has to be a little bit higher and at her speed. She was going in her route. You see the ball was a little bit behind her. And I say just patience. Set a simple ball so that Otene can do what she does.
Vasquez Gomez getting ready to serve. Tech fans doing their best to get Georgia Tech back in it. Mogridge's attack is called a touch.
Definite touch out of the middle.
Point goes to Georgia Tech. It was called out, but the up judge said nope, touch.
You've got to appreciate that Mogridge has been so available to her setter and putting some points on the board right now. She's up with 3 kills.
And Pierce Skylar Pierce, part of Texas's national championship team in 2022, gets the kill.
Just an overpass, and I'm not saying that this is when Pittsburgh has taken their foot a little bit off of the gas, but they are letting Georgia Tech
Largest
back
lead
into the set.
Largest lead Georgia Tech's had. And quickly Stafford siding out for Pitt. That'll get Mogridge off the service line. She'll rotate out for Tech. And coming in for Pitt, Riley Jones, Kat Flood, replacing Klicka and Bree Kelly. Flood will rotate back to serve. And Kat was a very high-level soccer player. Didn't really start playing volleyball seriously until sophomore season in high school. Otene tried to take a little off that attack. Now tries to power through it. Stafford tools the block, point Pitt. Stafford, no hitting errors. In fact, the entire Pitt team has yet to commit an error. She's leading the team with 6 kills, however. It is hot and humid in O'Keefe today. Flood, nice serve to Mendez.
Now, although that was an out-of-system set to Otene, that was much better in her route and pace of attack. You see her able to keep that ball in front of her, get high on top of it, and go deep corner.
Otene now with 3 kills for Georgia Tech. Mendez serving. No touch, point Georgia Tech. Mendez on the All-ACC freshman team last year. So only 2 freshmen to have a 20-kill match last year. Having a good sophomore year as well. Fairbanks, quick set and finish in the middle to number 9, Jones.
Now, when you take Tori Stafford, because that was an aggressive swing from Kayla Jones, but when you take Tori Stafford out of the offensive threat, you cannot forget about first tempo in the middle. That was a perfect pass. Pittsburgh just executing.
Oh, nice swing by Mendez.
Really like that Georgia Tech has moved to that 5-1 system, although Emiliano is a shorter 5'7" blocker in the front row against an attacker like Tori Stafford. It's still getting it done from a consistency standpoint.
Yeah, Emiliano, number 8 in blue, one of the most experienced setters in the country, but she is only 5'7". Otene again.
And you see Coach Michelle Collier is getting hype for her team. Again, they're chasing attackers, Georgia Tech on that block, but the defense was what got that point for Georgia Tech with Otene out of the back row.
Good response by Tech here to start the second. Stafford puts that away with authority. Feel sorry for the volleyball after that hit. Wow.
But if I were Rachel Fairbanks, I would go to that left pin every single time. She understands her athletes and she understands how high they attack. And against a shorter blocker like Emiliano for Georgia Tech, it's going to be exploited.
See if they keep doing that. Stafford now is serving. Emiliano with the set, quick to Pierce. Pierce puts it down. No, she missed it. That was called out. So remember, Stafford went on that long service run in the opening set. They won 8 straight points. Trying to carve out another one. Pitt is trailing right now 7-6. Only 6 times this season has one of Pitt's opponents even reached 20 points. Bertolino misses on that attack, and Pitt has tied the score at 7. They're only tied once in the first set. Sorry, the third time they've been tied here in the second. Emiliano out to Bertolino. Blocked, out of bounds though. Point, Georgia Tech.
And again, I think this 5-1 system for Georgia Tech is really starting to get them in their offensive groove. You see the sets are more consistent to that left pin, Bertolino and Otene, and they're starting to get into their game. Right now, Bertolino on the board with her first kill of the match.
Emiliano, the setter in the 5-1 for Michelle Collier right now in Georgia Tech. Babcock took a little off that. Good dig by Otene. Mendez sends it. Fairbanks dumps. Nice save by Velez, the libero. But Tech can't stay in the rally. Point Pitt.
Velez does a good job of staying outside the block, making sure that she sees Olivia Babcock coming out of that middle back for the attack.
Velez is one of the best junior college players in the country the last couple of years. Back in now, Meyer to serve, wearing the libero jersey. She and Klicka have been trading off. So she'll have to stay in the back row. Mogridge attacking and gets the kill. Liv Mogridge, her dad Alan, one of the assistant football coaches here. He's an advisor, works with the offensive line. He's a great player at University of North Carolina. So they basically are here at the same school, dad and daughter. Vasquez Gomez wins that battle.
Just put a little mustard on that hot dog, getting it right between the block. Georgia Tech just needs to continue to penetrate that net, sealing off those angles for Vasquez Gomez.
It's going to be so strange to see Pitt play without her in the jersey next year. She and Fairbanks both, Klicka as well. They've been mainstays in the big resurgence of Pitt volleyball. That's Georgia Tech's point. A touch called on Pitt.
And you're going to see Coach Dan Fisher take his first challenge. Olivia Babcock on that right pin for Pittsburgh says she did not touch that ball whatsoever. But Mendez on that left pin for Georgia Tech went straight down line.
Tech challenged on the opening point of the match, lost it. This is Pitt's first challenge. They're also challenging a touch. The original call was no touch. Unfortunately,
I believe
the fans can hear him, but we can't.
The original call was a touch. You see as Babcock elevates there.
You're right, original call is a touch. And that point was given to Georgia Tech. So Dan Fisher's saying there was no touch. And I don't, well, it's hard to tell from that angle. Mendez, she was the player involved in the first challenge earlier today. That is her going up against Babcock, number 5.
And it has to be definitive to be overturned. We see that the ball is clearly out at the right foot of Rachel Fairbanks in right back. But it is definitely hard to see if the ball gets a little bit of Olivia Babcock's right arm.
So the call was touch.
This will probably be the best look here.
Okay, so no touch. Pitt wins that challenge. They have 2 remaining, and that gives Pitt the point as well as that attack was out. Good challenge by Dan Fisher, and Fairbanks will go back to serve.
So if history tells us right, and every tendency of every setter at the collegiate level, we'll look for Emiliano to go right back to Mendez on that left pin to make sure for certain if she gets an attack.
See if it happens. So that's number 8 in blue going to number 11 in blue. Fairbanks serving. Here's Emiliano. Actually set the middle that time, and Mogridge takes care of it. Liv Mogridge Missed most of last season with a knee injury. Didn't play in either Pitt match last year. Pitt has retaken the lead here. Good serve. Mendez. Better attack.
That was a really good save by Emiliano for Georgia Tech. Just one arming, pushing that ball straight out to Mendez. Mendez single blocker, taking care of the ball.
Bertolino is talking to the up judge right now. She's also the player that's going to serve. She's the designated player that can talk to this official. Each team has allowed one player that can approach the up judge. Bertolino from Argentina leads the ACC in aces.
Now this is a tough rotation for Georgia Tech to really have to focus on all attackers and have Otene on that left pin for Georgia Tech, not chase out.
Let's see what happens. Vasquez Gomez attacks. Emiliano with a nice dig. Mendez, and Mendez tools the Pitt block.
As a former middle blocker, I was told never to get the second ball, but you got Mogridge stepping in there and making sure that she is setting a beautiful ball to her right side, Mendez, for a kill.
Yeah, Mogridge turned into the setter.
Love to see it.
Again, the versatility of middles in today's game, it's just exponentially grown. That point given to Pitt.
What an unfortunate error on the side of Georgia Tech. You've got Mogridge in the net on that one.
So Vasquez Gomez will go back to serve. Vasquez Gomez from Puerto Rico. Family lives now down in Texas. Her dad was a pro basketball player in Puerto Rico and comes from a family of volleyball siblings. She is hoping for a professional career after her Pitt days are over. And in the U.S. now, you have 3 different options as pro volleyball is taking off. Emiliano setting Otene. Otene has to tip it. A little miscommunication there between Emiliano and Otene, and Pitt will take it.
I think Georgia Tech's right side has been taking care of the ball, so I would look for Mendez to get this ball because it's either the middles running a slide or Mendez on that right pin.
Mendez, number 11 in blue. There she is. Fairbanks saves it, setting Stafford, and Stafford goes high hands for the kill.
Just so smart. Again, Georgia Tech really executing the plan of utilizing that right side pin, but Pittsburgh doing a better job of terminating.
The thing I love about Tori Stafford, she doesn't force anything. 8 kills on 12 swings, no errors.
It's effortless volleyball on the side of Tori Stafford in Pittsburgh.
Emiliano setting Otene. Otene blocked, good D by Velez, the libero for Tech. Mendez stuffed by Bree Kelly. So the block party continuing for Pitt. Timeout on the floor as Pitt hits the 15-point mark first. They've won the last 4 points to take a 4-point lead here at Georgia Tech.
All right, let's run that again.
Geico has fast, fair claims 24/7 right on the Geico app.
To file a claim, just tap.
Just tap right here to upload pictures, customer.
Try getting on a first-name basis.
Sure. Vicky.
To track your status, just click. Super easy.
They're connecting with the mannequins.
You're doing great, everyone.
Ooh, you're a pro.
Scroll, tap, scroll. Ouch! Oh, I'm cramping.
Yeah, we've all been there.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
I overdid it. Like a showboat, I just overdid it.
I'm Jordan Heidema, and soccer is just one part of my story. Jordan outside of soccer is a little bit different than Jordan in soccer. I have moments where I can be silly, I have moments where I can be serious, and you definitely get a sneak peek into who I am with what I wear. Off field, me like street style, baggy stuff. I don't think there's like a gender in clothes. Whatever you feel confident in, go rock it. TJ Maxx. Maxx what makes you, you.
The Pitt Panthers in Atlanta to take on the 13th ranked team, Georgia Tech. And though Georgia Tech has played better here in the second set, Pitt out in front by 4. Pitt 19 total kills and 19 attack errors for Georgia Tech. Again, what makes that so remarkable is Georgia Tech is a very good team that could make a deep run in the tournament in December. Mogridge in the middle, blocked by Kelly. Otene will go at it. No! That Pitt block, Jen, as a middle blocker, I know you got to be in awe of that.
I absolutely love it. Just the symphony of, and the communication, both athletes moving laterally, Bree Kelly really owning the net, making sure that she is orchestrating that first line of defense and doing it beautifully for Pittsburgh.
Velez receives, Emiliano with a set to Mendez. Stafford keeps it alive. Babcock. Mendez set a little behind her. Fairbanks with a nice set to Stafford, and Stafford loses the battle. That is the first hitting error on Tori Stafford, and that'll give Tech some confidence.
Listen, my girl Liv Mogridge is working hard for the money. You see her penetrate the net for Georgia Tech, get that block, seal that left angle.
Mogridge serving, and that serve just drifts out. Yeah, Liv Mogridge, 6'4", rotates out. So they'll lose that imposing presence in the middle for the moment. But Deandra Pierce is in for Tech on the front line, #1 in blue. She has been impactful every time she's rotated in.
And I mean, that number is indicative of the struggle for Georgia Tech. 20 attack errors, and it's the middle of the second set.
Emiliano with a quick set to Pierce. Oh, nice dig by Kat Flood. And a net violation on Georgia Tech will give Pitt the point.
I'd say another quick timeout for Georgia Tech, just to keep it simple. That was a good set by Emiliano for Georgia Tech. So Deandra Pierce out of the middle. Just too overzealous, too much penetration, and a net violation on the side of Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Pierce getting into the net, and then Georgia Tech taking a timeout. 18-12 here in the second set. Well, Pitt is off to undisputedly the best start they've ever had in a season. Right now, 11-0. They haven't dropped a set. Their opponents only averaging just a little more than 16 points a set. And again, they have not even faced a set point other than one time against Oregon.
And I think this is the first year in several years of Pitt's success that they have 10 returning attackers, 10 returning players from previous years. So I think that this team as a whole, as a collective, led by Valeria Vasquez Gomez, has just been so high level, and it's showing them being the #1 team in the nation.
What's even more surprising, Pitt had never been ranked #1 until this year. They ascended to the #1 spot on September 9th and have not even come close to losing that ranking. They finished last year #4 in the nation after that third straight national semifinal. Again, you compare that to basketball, they've made the Final Four the last 3 years.
And you see Pittsburgh, their side's just playing really loose. They have a cushion. They've been insanely dominant. They've done it on the defensive end for this match so far. They've got 10 blocks, hitting at a .462. They're just two attack errors versus 20. You're gonna get it done.
Kat Flood, one of their better servers, in to serve. Serves it short. Emiliano sets Mendez. Fairbanks keeps it alive. Babcock off hands. Bertolino tries to save it, but can't. Point Pitt. And Babcock gets her third kill.
I think a lot of these sets from Emiliano on the side of Georgia Tech are dropping too far inside the net for their attackers to really make it into their route. So just get a nice, good paced high ball to the attackers so that they can do something with it.
These teams typically so efficient hitting. Your new serve receive would be very important today. Otene tools the block.
Nice, high, tempoed ball to that pin. Otene does what Otene does.
Yeah. Otene and Mendez have been the bulk of the Georgia Tech offense today. Mendez back to serve. She has 6 kills.
You're going to see Laura Fisher check in here for Georgia Tech, getting some height on that right pin on the block.
Fisher, number 18 in blue, on the right front pin right now. Stafford into the open court with pinpoint accuracy.
My. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. Tori Stafford elevating against a triple block. I mean, come on, that's just kind of unfair, isn't it?
You know it is, but Pitt is one of those teams, Jen, that even if they're winning in a lopsided way, it's fun to watch. They're just so good, so dynamic. And again, this Georgia Tech team is a team we may very well see in the regionals in the NCAA tournament. Otene attacks. Remember, Tech's only lost 2 matches this year. That was to UCLA and SMU. They've beaten Florida and BYU.
Got a nice serve receive ball by Bertolino. High, in route. Let Otene detonate.
Back row attack from Babcock, no problem. And she's just an instant highlight reel. Stafford back to serve. Again, it's been a very good serving day so far for Stafford. She's gonna hope to close out this set. Serves it at Otene. Emiliano setting Bertolino, and Bertolino will get Stafford off the service line as Tech sides out. It's a good set, cross court.
Bertolino taking a little bit off of that ball. She overran it in her attack route, but she made sure that she's aiming for deep corners.
And we welcome you into O'Keefe Gymnasium on the campus of Georgia Tech for this top 15 women's volleyball showdown. Pitt, the #1 team in the nation, taking on Georgia Tech, ranked number 13 in the nation. I'm Sam Gore along with Jen Hoffman. It's been fairly lopsided today. Pitt has not dropped a set the entire season. They've won 34 straight sets to begin the year, undefeated, and they have been rolling today against one of the top teams in the country, Jen.
And I think there have been moments of momentum that Georgia Tech has taken from Pittsburgh, but they need to continue to try to capitalize on those opportunities. Bertolino has been struggling for Georgia Tech, and Otene as well.
Dylan Griffin into serve, first time we've seen her today. Pitt hitting .500 so far in this match. Emiliano setting Mendez. Mendez attack is out, and the point to Pitt. This Pitt team has been to the national semifinals the last 3 years and looking to win the national championship for the first time ever, and they still see themselves as underdogs. It was Rachel Fairbanks who said, until we win the national championship, we're still the underdog.
And I love that mentality, because you can easily be the #1 team in the nation and being so dominant as Pittsburgh has shown today and every other match. You can easily get a little bit lax, but Pittsburgh has been successful and has just been climbing the ladder ever since 2022. You just see them continuing to elevate their game and this team.
They're the only team to make the last 3 NCAA semifinals, which if you compare to basketball, they've been to 3 straight Final Fours. This year, though, they achieved the #1 ranking for the first time in history. That was back on September 9th. And at the moment, they are the only team in Division I to have not lost a set so far this season. That is 34 and counting.
And one of the reasons that Pittsburgh has just been so dominant in this match alone, as a team, they only have 2 attack errors versus Georgia Tech 21 attack errors on this match. And one of the reasons that they're so successful is this young lady right here, Tori Stafford, has effortlessly got it done on that left pin. She's hitting 10 for 15, only one attack error, hitting at a 600, but it has been her defense on the block. As a team, as a whole, Pittsburgh has just dominated this entire match.
Now this Pitt team is the most efficient team in the country. As a unit, they hit 361, but today hitting 500. Griffin remains behind the service line. Pitt is 2 points away from taking a 2-0 lead into intermission. Serves it at Otene as a good serve. Mogridge out of the middle. Vasquez Gomez will give Pitt set point. Griffin, one of the many Californians on this roster, trying to close it out. Set point Pitt. Serve just wide. She was targeting Bertolino in the back corner.
And I was honestly wondering when Bertolino was going to realize that it was way too far out on her left side of her body to make sure that that ball is out.
It remains set point Pitt, but Emiliano, the setter from Brazil, will serve. Serves it at Vasquez Gomez. No problem. That is crushed in the middle by Bree Kelly to wrap up the second set. Pitt won 14 of the last 20 points. Second set as well. So we'll see Bozy for the first time. We haven't seen her so far. Serving is Emiliano. Must-win set for Georgia Tech. And immediately Tech going to work with a successful swing on the first attack. Vasquez Gomez back to serve, a former second-team All-American. Pitt returned 5 All-Americans this year. Bertolino sends it toward the net. Otene tried to create something, but that defense was there. Bree Kelly leading the way.
Again, the block setup for Pittsburgh has just been tagging every attacker, not allowing anything to cross the net for Georgia Tech. Larissa Mendez for Georgia Tech has been a good bright side offensively. She's got 7 kills leading Georgia Tech, so I'd look to have this ball go to the left pin.
Otene swings, kept alive by Babcock. Otene again hits it right at Fairbanks. Klicka saves it, sends it back in. Emiliano with the quick set to Mogridge. And Mogridge can finally celebrate the kill.
Liv Mogridge, another bright side for Georgia Tech. That's her 4th kill on the match as well. So a lot of production on that right side. They're really trying to make sure that those balls are moving high tempo.
Otene targeting Stafford. Bree Kelly taking the set from Fairbanks. Fairbanks now with 22 assists. She's assisted on 22 of the 28 kills that Pitt has had. Bree Kelly with 5 blocks today as well. Rotates out. Ryla Jones in on the front row for Pitt now. Flood serving, served it Velez. Otene can't get it to go down. Emiliano setting Mogridge, and Mogridge 2 for her last 2 swings.
Now we know for both teams, top 15 in the nation, they're going to get on the floor, they're going to play some defense, and you just see both teams right now battling, and it has been the middles for both sides that have really set the tempo. Liv Mogridge doing a good job, 5 of 9.
Mogridge a good serving middle as well. Babcock is stuffed. Bozy, who is inserted into the lineup here for the first time in the 3rd set, gets the block.
Love to see it. Bozy lining up correctly. You see Bertolino and Bozy going up at the same time, shutting off that angle.
Fairbanks setting Babcock, and Babcock, no problem. Wide open court to hit into.
I mean, I don't know about you, but everybody thought that it was open net for Olivia Babcock for Pittsburgh, just going right down the line, and she just finesses that ball right into the corner.
Watch this serve. I think if that wall wasn't there, Babcock would even take more room for her approach. They need to get her off the service line, and they do. Mendez with too much power on the right side.
In the right side of the court, and by right side of the court, I mean anything that the right side attacker is doing, Mendez, but also the middle. You see that the middles are coming behind the setter sometimes on that slide. So Georgia Tech has been really working that right side of the court with success.
Must-win set for Tech to stay in this match. And they're trying to do something no one else has done this season, take a set off Pitt. That attack is just out. Point to Pitt.
See, just a little wide. Bertolino had a seam to go straight down, but she's trying to craft those angles. Just hit it sharp.
Stafford goes back to serve. Serves it at Velez, the libero. Back row, Otene. Kept up by Stafford. Now Vasquez Gomez. Emiliano back set to Mendez. Stafford with a dig. Babcock. Off hands, kill, point, Pitt.
I think this is the first time in this match you see both teams battling. You see Tori Stafford for Pittsburgh really doing it on the defensive end. The elevation for Olivia Babcock, the high contact point for her attack.
It's a good serve. Free ball here for Pitt. Klicka will set Vasquez Gomez. Mendez.
Again, going right side of the court, this time going to Bertolino. And it is no lift because there is no advantage for the team that has the ball on their side.
Yeah, Georgia Tech bench wanted that lift call, but you're right, Jen. Vasquez Gomez. Bertolino off hands. One of the longer rallies we've had. Vasquez Gomez tools the block for the point. We'll see if Tech challenges. And they are going to challenge, I think, this entire rally.
Now, I would absolutely 100% say that Rachel Fairbanks, without any subjective information, lifted that ball 1,000%.
A yellow card also issued to the Georgia Tech bench, and a challenge.
So Georgia Tech is challenging whether Pittsburgh was in the net at any part in that rally. And unfortunately, what I was saying is they've eliminated the double contact, although that was clearly a double contact from Rachel Fairbanks. She took it from her chest up into the air. But if there is no advantage, if the ball is on your side, they've eliminated that double contact because it is not an advantage for an attacker.
And again, if you're playing tennis, for example, you have to stop the rally to challenge, but they let this play out and then challenge, so they're going back quite a ways.
They're looking at whether there was a net contact there. They were yelling and upset that Rachel Fairbanks in this same play had a double contact, but they're going back to see if there was any touch on the net.
Maybe on the way down. Net's definitely moving, but to your point, the double contact did not give them an advantage, so that's why that was not called. No question there.
And the hair is an inadvertent touch at the net, so that is not where they're looking at net contact. But this was one of the longer rallies, so it could be anywhere.
And the net's been moving pretty much the entire rally. So they're going to look at this entire rally. Remember, the point was given to Pitt. And we're seeing the whole rally because that's what the official is doing, is looking at that entire rally.
And I honestly think that there could have been a potential net violation because the net was moving even before we saw what the officials have been seeing.
By the way, Kellen Petrone there on the left of Dan Fisher. He is the AVCA Assistant Coach of the Year. Call confirmed. So Georgia Tech is out of challenges unless we get to a 5th set. Well, they'll get an additional one. No net violation. So Pitt will be serving. There's Kellen Petrone, I was talking about earlier, the National Assistant Coach of the Year. Gives the serve instructions to the Pitt servers. Babcock terminates. Perfect.
Georgia Tech has to forget about that challenge and make sure that they buckle up and focus on their 30 feet right now, because they are not setting up that block properly. It almost looks like they're forgetting that Olivia Babcock is a threat in the back row, and that is something you cannot do.
Well, it's hard to game plan against Pitt, isn't it? I mean, they just can beat you so many different ways. 5 All-Americans, haven't lost a set all year.
But I think at this point, it is about confidence. And right now, you're seeing all of it come on the side of Pittsburgh because they are the #1 team in the nation, but they are efficient. And I think that Georgia Tech needs to realize that they are just as dominant and can be on any given night.
There was a touch called against Georgia Tech. They do not have any challenges left. So that's why you're seeing the coaching staff get a little upset. Here's the attack by Vasquez Gomez. There was called a touch.
And that is definitely a tough call there. I see a touch on the side of Emiliano.
Well, the point goes to Pitt, and they're in the midst of a 5-0 run. Timeout on the court.
I'm Jordan Heidema, and soccer is just one part of my story. Jordan outside of soccer is a little bit different than Jordan in soccer. I have moments where I can be silly, I have moments where I can be serious, and you definitely get a sneak peek into who I am with what I wear. Off field, I mean, like street style, baggy stuff. I don't think there's like a gender in clothes. Whatever you feel confident in, go rock it. TJ Maxx. Maxx what makes you, you.
Tonight, in your spacious La Quinta suite, your eyes could use a break after a long day of seeing, things. But hey, free waffles always make you forget. Because at La Quinta, we work as hard as you do, so that tonight you can be the agent of destruction. We get it, you've been building connections all day. Go ahead, demolish that personal record. Tonight, La Quinta, tomorrow you shine.
I didn't do this for the lights or the fame. I did it to pay it forward to the next generation of athletes and pass on the support my family gave me. I believe in SoFi because they give the same support to millions of members, helping them bank, borrow, and invest for their future. Because for most people, it's not about the lights or the fame. It's about their ambitions. SoFi, get your money right.
Stafford getting ready to serve. Pitt up 9-4 in front of the 35th straight sellout at Georgia Tech here in O'Keefe. Fans trying to put the hex on Stafford. They're all waving their fingers at her as she served. Didn't work. Fairbanks to Vasquez Gomez, and Vasquez Gomez terminates from the left side.
This is how smart of a setter Rachel Fairbanks is. Regardless that she puts up a very, very good ball anywhere she is on the floor, she also realizes that on the opposite side of that net, you have a shorter stature Emiliano on that block against Valeria Vasquez Gomez, and she's going to feed her every single time and exploit that deficiency.
28 assists for Fairbanks today. One of the best setters in the country. Babcock. And Babcock was going for the line and got the touch.
And you've got a touch at the net on the side of Georgia Tech. Bozy in the net.
Point to Pitt. Stafford's had an excellent day serving. Ace right on the sideline. Stafford's done a little bit of everything today. That's her first ace, 10 kills, an assist, an ace, 6 digs, 2 blocks. Posey. Vasquez Gomez into the Georgia Tech block. It's Posey who gets all of it.
You see here just a better block setup. Bertolino on that right pin, but you've got Posey who connects and seals that block, cutting off all those angles.
There's that massive serve from Bertolino. Oh, what a quick set and finish from Fairbanks to Jones.
I mean, I'm a proud middle right now because freshman Ryla Jones, see how Rachel Fairbanks is almost at the 3-meter line, but Jones, to make herself available and communicate that, she's running away from that setter on that 31 and just attacking and executing.
Just the timing between them on that. It's amazing. Pitt up 13-5, trying to go for another sweep. Would be their 12th in a row to start the season. Posey's made quite an impact. She did not play in the first 2 sets, but here in the 3rd set, she's been very impactful.
And Posey came in for Deandra Pierce for Georgia Tech, and you're absolutely right. She's been impactful right now. She's got 2 kills, but also she's doing it on the defensive end with blocks.
Yeah, a couple of blocks for Posey as well. She rotates out. Fairbanks, that's tight to the net. Back to Babcock. Wow. I mean, what a valuable commodity those two are. I mean, when you can take that ball and turn it into that finish.
Well, that is one of the benefits of a 5-1 system. You see that Rachel Fairbanks, when she's in the front row, that means that there's a gap behind her on that right pin, and you have Olivia Babcock running behind that 10-foot line, but almost as though she's a front row attacker.
Tight to the net, and it was Georgia Tech in the net. Point for Pitt. Bree Kelly, one of the middles for Pitt, missed last season. They're so glad to have her back, former transfer from the University of Florida. It's a big part of the U.S.'s U21 gold medal winning team that Dan Fisher coached. Fairbanks keeps that alive. And Babcock, it hit Bertolino, or it would have gone out. Well, Jen, we've talked a lot about how in today's Division I level of volleyball, the middles are so crucial. And I know you've put together a list of the middles that are impressing you around the country.
Well, what it takes to be a middle blocker, you have to have quick lateral movement and agility. You've got to have great eye sequence and vision, but also be a big communicator. And right now, Anastasia for Syracuse is doing just that. She's on the leaderboard for statistics in the ACC conference. But we'll see also later, Kara Cressy from Louisville. She's going to be a dominating force. She's also very, very offensive. When I was playing as a middle blocker, it was more of that first line of defense. But you've got Sammy Francis coming in. Welcome to the ACC. She is one of my watch list middle blockers. She gets it done for Candy Miner and Stanford. Just really, really efficient. But you've had their match. Florida State has been very dominant, and it is because of Corey Lewis at the middle. She is an offensive threat, but also very, very visible on that block. You see her numbers averaging. And then we've got Ryla Jones, that freshman standout. You don't have to know much, but you got to make sure that you're a competitor if you're playing for Pittsburgh, and she is getting it done on the mat. But also just a lethal physical presence in the front row. And then you have the addition for Pittsburgh with Bree Kelly right now, number 23. The middles have been getting it done all match. And Ryla Jones right now, her number's 3 of 5, but she also leads her team with 5 blocks, so getting it done on the defensive end as well.
Yeah, the middle's proving to be quite a commodity all around the country right now. If you have a good middle, you're in good shape. Ace by Fairbanks. Serving also has been critical. All these big upsets we've seen around the country in the non-conference part of the season, The team that won was the team that served best.
You've got to serve, but also that first tempo offense, which comes out of the middle, establishing that presence, has been key for top teams.
Fairbanks targeting Velez. Right side attack, can't go down by Harper. Harper, number 12 in blue, up there with Mogridge for Georgia Tech. Mogridge out of the middle, looking for a touch. No touch called, point Pitt. Tech has no challenges, remember. The only way they can get another challenge is if we were to go all the way to 5 sets.
And again, this is a new rule. As you see Coach Michelle Collier really trying to argue for that lift, but it is no advantage if that ball stays on your side and you are within that 3-touch parameter.
Tech has won 14 of the last 16 points, and finally Fairbanks errors to go off the service line. Pitt has won 35 straight sets. Emiliano back to serve. It's contagious. Back set to Otene. Otene tried to cut it sharp cross court, missed. And Pitt continues to roll, hitting the 20-point mark very quickly here in the third set. They lead 20-7.
It is really, really tough to dig yourself out of a hole when you have two of your most dominant players hitting in the negative and really struggling on the match. You see Bertolino and Otene both struggling, and that kind of is where you're looking at the energy on the side of Georgia Tech kind of fade.
Fourth ace of the day for Pitt. Vasquez Gomez getting that one. They had 8 in the sweep of Clemson on Friday, so the Pitt serve is on as well. Targeting Velez. Mendez tries to power it through the block. Fairbanks kept it in play. Here's Stafford. Stafford hits it again at Velez. Mendez. Klicka with the save. Stafford puts it down.
Just unbelievable play for Rachel Fairbanks to calm this ball down and settle her team every single time. It is like a reset every time Rachel Fairbanks touches the ball, and you see Tori Stafford execute, terminate. Beautifully done. She's got 11 kills on the match.
Emiliano setting Mogridge in the middle. Bree Kelly blocked it, kept alive. And then crushing it is Babcock.
I mean, come on. Bree Kelly, what a heads-up play. Detonate.
Babcock with 12 kills and 10 digs today for the double-double. And Mogridge puts it down with authority. Liv Mogridge out of the middle. That's her 6th kill. Otene will serve. Good serve. Stafford. Bertolino attacks, blocked. Bree Kelly gives Pitt match point.
It's really, really tough, and it says something about your team when you come into an opponent's gym and turn the fans into fans of your own. I think what you have witnessed here tonight on the side of Pittsburgh is some exceptional volleyball, and they're going to be a team that's hard to beat.
Match point Pitt. Kat Flood will serve. Bertolino, it's out, and Pitt with 12 straight sweeps to open the season. They win this final set 25-8, hitting .493 for the entire match.